In this video, traders, we are going to look at the question of, will algos replace traders one day? Here's my opinion. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. So my opinion on this question is, will algos replace traders one day? What a great question. And I like this kind of stuff because, I often do think, as sad as it may be, how jobs and how society is going to change with this massive technology boom we're seeing. I mean, listen, without kind of going overboard with it, just think what it was only 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. None of this stuff existed. And now we're talking about people, artificial intelligence and virtual reality, augmented reality, all this kind of stuff, the different things, and autonomous driving vehicles, which were just not heard of. But the ability to take all the input that we get at the moment as humans and do something with it, it's becoming like the norm. I mean, if you look at autonomous vehicles, right, and then we'll get to kind of this in a second, but you'll see where I'm going with this. Autonomous vehicles have a lot of stuff to take in. They're taking in all the stuff that's going on the road, all the stuff that's going on in the vehicle, all the probabilities, doing all these calculations at the same time as learning and adjusting and adapting as it goes on. Now, I know this is not kind of deep learning style, and the learning is slightly different in terms of, it goes back to a central database based on the roads and all this kind of stuff, and then updates all the other cars driving on it. But you get the point. The idea is this: where we are now and how quickly we've come. How far are we going to be 10 years, 20 years? You just think of all the jobs that you from day to day. I actually thought of this literally a couple of days ago, thinking, okay, on my day-to-day life, how many of those jobs or human interactions will be removed and will be replaced by computers? Now, you think if you go into a shop, yes, they've got self-serve checkouts already, but soon there won't need to be a human. Shelves can be stacked automatically. There won't need a function, there won't need to be a human. If I get into an Uber, that won't need to be a human. At what point do I actually need a human? Now, there are things obviously where people enjoy a face-to-face contact. Like if I check into a hotel, yes, I can check in via online, or I can check in, some terminal, but I like going up, I like speaking to the person behind the checkout. They tell me a little bit about it. I can maybe ask some questions, get engaged in a little bit of chit chat, what sort of, anything I need to know, and then I'm off. And would life be pretty boring if we didn't have any human interaction? It probably would, but the point is that job could easily be replaced by technology at some point. Even a robot standing there, giving you a pretty good conversation. And actually a robot that would never make you sad, because, okay, we're digressing massively here, but if you can imagine, it looks at your face, it says, okay, male, white, age between 35, 45, this, that, the other. Let's test and ask a question, see his response. Does he like football? Does he like business? Is he interested in this? Is he interested in that? And they could literally be very clever in seeing your facial responses and then engage you in conversation based on what you like, which is by little gentle probes with different questions and making an initial assessment, a broad assessment, and then seeing if it's right or wrong. And you could imagine, I'm going off piste here, but okay, let's go back to the point. I think this is a really interesting topic, and if you've got any thoughts in the comment section below, let me know. Maybe we'll do another kind of unrelated video to it, but I think actually maybe we're kind of related, because how will investment and how will trading change? So let's just look at this now. How will trading change, and will algos replace traders one day? Now, I think that there is a point where algos can probably replace an awful lot of human traders, and we're noticing it now, just you and I. Okay, being able to make trading decisions and using stuff that years ago was not possible, filtering, screening, all this stuff to bring to our attention, writing our own mini robots, if you like, our own mini algos for almost no outlay was unheard of. But the question is, can these be profitable? Now, there's no doubt that there are algos out there that are profitable, but at the moment it seems to be this, is that algos work very well for a short window of time and then they don't work. Now, why does that change? That changes because massive market sentiment changes, which causes a change in market conditions, i.e. we go from everyone's happy, making money in a bull market, algo that's constantly buying dips and whatever it may be is making money. Then we go into fear based on some kind of catalyst, and that's human influence, right? If we're fearful of let's say, the US-China trade war. We're fearful of the uncertainty of Brexit. We're fearful of what have you. That may cause us to make emotional decisions. Now, the question then becomes, can algos predict human emotion? Because humans are generally better. We're not quite there yet, which is why I kind of brought up the point of, if you could have a conversation with a robot, could they kind of adjust and tweak and work out, what you wanted to talk about just by asking little different questions and kind of making it more of an enjoying engagement as opposed to someone who's perhaps grumpy. So that would come to this algo. If algos can really get a feel on crowd emotion, and there have been algos that have tried that through social media, but they haven't really done very well. There was a Twitter hedge fund, and he went out there and they analyzed everything on Twitter, but as we know, what people put on social media isn't necessarily how they're feeling. We've talked about this in terms of stocks. People say, oh, this is a great stock, I'm buying it. Secretly, they're selling it, or they're putting a filter on it. It's not genuine emotion, whereas actually transacting, putting the money where your mouth is a genuine emotion. So the only way I believe that algos can overtake traders one day is if they go, okay, we now need to be good at transitioning between different market conditions based on different people's emotions. And the trouble you have with that is that your motivation for selling a stock might be different to mine. As we've discussed before on the channel is, okay, you may have to sell that stock because you've got to pay for something else. I may have to sell that stock because I just think it's a bad stock. Someone else may sell that stock because they think it's going low. There are different motivations, and so being able to collectively see what group motivations are for shifting the supply and demand, which is ultimately how the market moves, right? Aggression on the supply side, aggression on the demand side. Unless it can really get in the handle of that, then how can it overcome human emotion? But then we can go even further to it and we can say, right, well, if it becomes pure algos, then all we're doing is algo versus algo. If there's no humans involved in it, it's a case of, well, I know what that algo is going to do. Yeah, well, I know what that algo thinks I'm going to do. Well, that algo knows what that algo, you can see how this silly it can be. And we do get at the moment, we have predatory algos that actually look for algos that are there to fulfill order flow or to fulfill orders in small batches as opposed to making money. So we do kind of have that already. But on a long-term thing, and the question of will they replace traders altogether, I think we're a long way off that. I don't think we'll ever get to a point where algos will be battling out against each other, because I just think that if it gets to that point, a human then potentially could come in, could recognize the kind of weaknesses of the algos and either produce an algo that attacks the weakness of the other, and it would just never end. So I don't think it'll ever happen. I think that more and more technology will help us make our trading decisions. And I think that ultimately, we, regardless of whether we're manually placing an order or whether we are manually clicking execute on the algo, we have to at some point do something and say, yes, I want this algo to work. If we are losing money in it, the fear is still real, whether it's algo doing it for us or our own personal calls, right? We still have the same feeling of, I'm losing money, I don't want to lose any more money, or I'm making million money, I want to trade bigger, or whatever it may be. We still have the same emotions. The computer cannot, or computers can't, or algorithms can't completely get rid of our emotions, regardless of what vehicle is being used to trade. So that's when I think that because we've had that emotional connection with the money, with this, with that, the other, that they won't replace us completely. They'll be there, there'll be far more input from them, it'll be far easier to trade, it'll be far easier to develop systems and strategies based on kind of not having much logic in terms of being able to code, and perhaps there'll have to be some deep learning ability as well, that you'll have a strategy that will adjust and adapt. But ultimately, you're still going to be the one that says, hey, I want to put £10,000 risk on this trade, or I want to put 100. You're the one allocating that capital, regardless of whether it's doing automatically or manually. So that's the reason I don't think they will replace them completely. But I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, guys, because it's a really interesting topic, right? The next 10 years are going to be super, super interesting. Next 20 years as well are going to be incredible. So where's it going to go in the trading arena? Who knows? But yeah, comments in the comment section below. I'm interested to hear what you guys got to think about this. Bye-bye.